off seasons, you spend broadcasting basketball back on the East Coast. So question to start you off here. While you're calling basketball, which one of your catchphrases from baseball do you miss using the most?
TJ and Lyle, thanks for the invitation. I appreciate it. I can't use giddy up because nobody's hitting the ball out of the yard, but I've thrown a hey now. And there was a game I did, I can't remember. It was the Creighton Seton Hall triple overtime game Saturday a week ago. And a kid came down for Creighton on the right side, and he had been hot, and he caught it in rhythm and let it rip. And hey now, but that's about it. Yeah.
You could use giddy up on a dunk, right?
I'll try to work it in Saturday. I got Marquette at Georgetown Saturday and Villanova hosting Providence Sunday. So maybe we can work it in.
How'd these calls come to fruition over the years? Did you just think of them on the fly, or did you give it some thought?
That's a really good question. I wasn't like, I got to have a catchphrase. It was just like going with it. It's such a, I think I'm quite visceral in my broadcasting. I really get into the feel, the flow. And, hey now was something, without cussing or anything. I remembered that from, I know Howard Stern uses it. Was on the Gary Shandling show years ago. Jeffrey Tambor, who played Hank Kingsley, who was like an Ed McMahon announcer. And you go, hey now, here's Gary, and one of those kind of things. So I remember that, and I threw it out there one time. I think that was one I ran by my two sons. I said, yeah, go for it. Why not?
I think I remember correctly with your Nelson Cruz one, your boomstick baby, that you didn't even going into the season have one for him. I think that was correct. And it came up the first time he hit a home run and you stuck with it.
Well, when his time in Texas, when we'd walk to the clubhouse, you'd see this big, you guys are too young to remember Oscar Mayer Wiener, but it was like a golf cart with this big old oversized, a million times bigger hot dog bun thing, and it had boomstick on it, and that was his name. Long story short, Slick Leonard, who was a good player and a coach in the NBA, ABA, when Reggie Miller had hit a shot from three, he go, boom, baby. So I put it all together. I ran it by my sons, ran it by Nelly, and then he loved it. He absolutely loved it. I remember his first year with us was 15, I believe it was, and he had a good month of April. And so every day, I go in the clubhouse, he's come here, and he gets his iPhone out, and he starts playing. Somebody had done a mashup, and all you hear was, boom, steak, baby, Nelson Cruz. And he showed all these home runs. He was like, he enjoyed it. And boy, I tell you what, I miss him, not only because, those calls are done, but just a great guy. And he was such an incredible part of what we had there for 4 years.
How much do the players remember and maybe repeat back your catchphrases to you? Because I was reading a Daniel Kramer article that I think he wrote last season, and he was saying that Cal, when the Mariners put the GoPro in the booth to capture you, and you're saying, hey now at the top of your lungs, and Cal comes up to you, and he was quoting that article. He's like, the pitch to Acevedo.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he's got the whole call memorized.
Right. That's funny because my wife even said when she saw it, she said, why were you like singing Acevedo? I don't know. It's just going. I'm watching. Here's a pitch from Acevedo. And Cal said his whole family does it now, or did it, right after that. There was one time last year, I was either had a day off or I wasn't on TV. Teoscar Hernandez hit a home run, so I see him the next day. Hey, man, I wanted to hear you call my home run. And I thought that was hilarious. That was so I think the next time he hit a home run, I made sure I saw him that day or the next day and said, hey, I nailed that one for you.
Did you run by the Murph by Tom Murphy before that one started? Because that's one I always loved.
No, Kevin Lockery, who was a coach of the Nets years ago when I was covering the NBA, and he was a pretty good player, good shooter. And I never knew why, but his nickname was the Murph. And so it just sort of fit. It was just like, I get the speaker that's going bozo here. That was just sort of a natural occurrence. It just felt good. I mean, baseball's all about nicknames. You got to have fun with that. I mean, we got great nicknames in the history of the sport. and the Murph, and I know a lot of Irish guys. So, I mean, it just sort of fit. I'm going to miss him, too. He's a good guy. Really good guy.
He was. Do you have any inklings on some new ones for this season? Care to?
I haven't thought about it. When it happens, it happens. I'm not sitting here and like before I hooked up with you guys. I'm trying to work ahead. I get these 2 games at the end of the week, so I like to be ahead of schedule. I'm here, in the house by myself. My kids are grown. My wife's visiting her mother, so I got time to like jam and get my stuff down. Yeah, so I'm not even really thinking that much about baseball, because when we get to it, it's going to be immersive. So, and it's going to be fun. And, if we come up with some more nicknames, so be it.
So I want to jump to the 2021 season, and I mentioned the GoPro aspect of them sticking the GoPro in the booth, and your 2 calls, the first one of the Mitch single in 2021, and then, of course, the Cal clincher in 2022 were 2 of the most viral moments in Mariners history, and it's accompanied by you on video. And it's really fantastic. But Dave, the first time they walked in there and said, "Hey, we're going to set a camera up," and pointed at you instead of at the field, I mean, what was your reaction?
Well, I got it. They said, "Listen, we haven't been in playoffs in eons, so we got to document this. This could be an historic occasion." Tim Walsh and his crew, and he was new to the club that year, and we gotta memorialize this. This is a big deal. I mean, you're talking 01 since the last playoffs, and I thought it was a great idea, but I never thought, I wasn't playing to the camera. Who was it? Dick Bremer, the Twins veteran TV guy, good guy, good broadcast, very good broadcast. He says, "Was that you that put the I said, "Dude, come on, you know me well enough. That's not how I roll. Come on." He said, "It was our social media guys." And I told him the same thing. He says, "Okay, good." He says, "It was really good. It worked." And so that's how it came about. And it was great. Driving home, my phone was going, it was just buzzing and going crazy. And the same thing happened, a year later when Cal, they got us into the playoffs. So, yeah, it's been fun. And I'd like to think I was pretty much on the map, but that certainly reinforced it. That's for darn sure.
I am curious about the Cal Raleigh home run call. And one reason I wanted to ask you about this is because big league ball players are big league ball players for many reasons, but one reason why, because they're not fazed by the big moment. It's the same thing with big league broadcasters. You live for it, and when it happens, you're not fazed by it. That being said, and you didn't know it was going to happen by a walk-off home run, but when you started to get the inkling that, okay, the Mariners are going to clinch, whether it's a day before, a week before, whenever, was there any little extra signal going off in your head saying, all right, when this happens, I got to nail it?
Well, yeah, you got to nail it. Don't screw it up, and don't trip over your tongue. But that happens in a moment. You're not thinking about, like, had I rehearsed something and then I would have been trying to hunt and peck to try to remember it, screw that. I mean, if I was that good remembering lines and all that stuff, I would have gone on and been an actor. I mean, I think there's wannabe actor / stand-up comic in my deep in my bones. But that was just a reacts. And that's the best way for me, and I think a lot of guys would probably agree with that. The best way to go with it. I mean, let it come from your heart and your soul and your head, man. And that's what I did. And Lord knows, I've been around long enough with the Mariners to know the situation and know the hurt, the disappointment, and certainly I had anticipated. I always wondered what the joy would feel like. I think I showed it on that.
Are you able to put into words like the emotions you felt that night? Like, we've talked to so many fans about what that night meant to them and the drought and et cetera. And you come over from the East Coast in 2007 to take this job with the Mariners. Just like Scott told the players, hey, the drought's not on you. Don't worry about it. Just like you came in and the drought was already started, but you saw a big bulk of that. So when that night happens and everyone's in the stand celebrating, I mean, what's going through your mind as well as that night goes on?
Oh, the adrenaline was in the left lane doing 95 in a 35 mile an hour zone. I mean, it was tremendous. Those are once in a lifetime moments, and you savor it and you enjoy it. And I think probably my biggest thanks is I didn't cuss or anything. It's like, you better freaking believe this, or something like that, something stupid. And that was, it wasn't the case. I nailed it, and I feel good about it to this day. And what was it? So Cal said it was a 22 season. So last year we go to Chicago. We play the Cubs early in April. Unseasonably warm day, and the first day, and I'm down on the field, and Cubs are taking BP. And I'm walking up towards the cage, and David Ross, and I said, I got to meet David Ross. And I'd met him once before, but very briefly. And I come in, he turns around, he's walking back to the dugout, and he didn't even say hello. He reached out, shook my hand, tapped me on the chest. He says, dude, that call was the best. He says, I play it to get fired up. And I've had Aaron Judge, Kevin Kiermaier, what's my boy's name? Kyle with the Phillies, Schwarber, whole bunch of guys after the Haniger call elicited a lot of response, but because the Cal clincher got us into the playoffs, and so many people saw it, and to have players who you like watching and admire from afar come up to you and say, dude, you crushed that call, you killed it. And Judge and other guys and Kiermaier said, when I'm going to get jacked up, I play that call. I said, whoa, that's really cool. That's unbelievable.
Did Aaron Judge come up to you and say something about it?
Well, I know him, just hi, how are you? But we would always chat every time we played the Yankees, and then so I think it was I think that year they came to us first, so that was the first time he had seen me since the call. Yeah, and I have a picture, and he was like, dude, I was so happy for you, and it was great, and really enjoyed it.